conversation is a heavier one, based off of a real-life concern for mental health and suicide prevention. According to the CDC, 10% of high school students attempted suicide last year. And this really hit home for me today because I've had a few friends who become mothers around the same time I did, who were pregnant at the same time I was, and who have kids the same age as mine, whose children are struggling with their mental health and have even attempted suicide. So it really got me thinking about how to show up for our kids.
So let's talk about what ways we can tune in and speak life into the generation that comes after us. So Lindsay, tell us a little bit about your most recent experience. I mean, the world is really having these kind of struggles. It's not unique to us individually, and we shouldn't feel so alone with it. And it's really good to share our stories. What's a little bit about your most recent experience?
Well, I think it hit me hard a couple days ago. I got a notice from a friend whose daughter was really struggling and had attempted suicide. I know another friend of mine whose daughter was going through something very similar. And then I woke up today with a call from my mom about an older lady who was like an aunt to me. It was my best friend's aunt, actually, who had passed away from cancer. And it just kind of swirled in my head today, like, wow, I'm grieving this woman who was like an aunt to me, who showed up and cheered me on, who came to all my birthday parties and graduations and pool parties and just, smiled on me, just told me how proud of me she was, and who was my friend's aunt, but was kind of like a surrogate aunt to me, right? And reflecting on her life and how much I miss her and how big of a hole she's left in our community, how much I needed that as a young girl, how much that brought confidence into my life, how much it brought a sense of home, a sense of stability, just that it wasn't like my mom or my dad, it was like my friend's mom and my friend's aunt, and like this whole greater part of what I was connected to, who loved me and cherished me. And so I just really was thinking about her, my friend's aunt, but then thinking about my other friend whose child is going through something, like thinking back to myself as like, okay, if I were 13 years old, today, facing some of the challenges that this generation is facing, from social media to AI and online bullying and all these things, right?
Yeah.
And I really just was like, well, how do I show up? Like, how do I show up for my friend who's scared for her daughter? How do I show up for this girl who's, struggling in her life right now in a really authentic way that like gives her something to hope for, or gives her something to think about, or I don't know, maybe like a little light. I kind of almost see it like a little fire that she can like keep burning or something. Yeah. It's like, I just want to like go light people's fire in a really authentic way. And this is such a huge topic, like for me. I don't know anyone who's really struggled with this. So how do I show up? Like, I don't even know what tools like I could use. I was like Googling it. Like, what do you give to somebody who's thought about committing suicide? Like, do you say that? Do you not say that? Yeah. And so I just wanted to think, I want 10% of high school students attempt suicide.
Staggering.
That is way too much. Like, we have to find a way to have this conversation, I think, where we're recognizing some of the patterns maybe that are off in our kids, but we're also, not afraid to just meet them where they're at right now and say, life is beautiful and there is hope. Let me just give you this little kiss along your journey because you need it this way. Because I feel like that's what my friend's aunt did for me a little bit.
It's in many ways all we need to get us to that next level. Right. And when we don't have that, this generation of kids and young adults and adults, I mean, we've all, as a world unit, have gone through some, very unique circumstances to our humanity. And it's unnatural to what we're innately, desire to do. The way God made us was to be in community. And when our children are locked in their houses, and they can't be in community together, it really impacts their psychological development. And individually, it impacts them at different stages, because we do have milestone markers that we have to meet at different stages of our humanity as we grow. And, we measure those things when, the kids are growing from infancy to toddler and toddler to adolescency. And we really measure all these milestone markers. But the psychological milestone markers aren't as measured or aren't as intensely looked at. And I think this whole world shutdown is an interesting and unfortunate experiment of humanity. Not an intentional experiment, but if we can look at it and say, this is how not to be in community, and kids, they feel secluded, they feel alone, they feel different, they feel unworthy, and what is there to hang on to? I mean, at every generation there has been some kind of sacred activity to latch onto, whether it's our churches or, it was the tribes, it's the family. All of a sudden, all of that was ripped away from us. The church walls, we weren't allowed to go. We can't go into community. We can't visit our families. We can't. That was 2 years' time. So if this girl is 14, she's 11 and 12 years old going into this lockdown, right when she's going to be developing this social milestone marker going into middle school, and the activities and the social activities and being involved in after school activities and learning your individuality, because you're given these responsibilities as a young adult. And so I think it's important. It's an important conversation. I think it's one that we don't talk about nearly enough. Just like you said, what do we even do? How do we show up? If we've not ourselves experienced that. But I think if we're honest, or if we look a little deeper, I don't think there's anyone watching or listening that could genuinely say, I've never had a thought that I was either unworthy enough or disconnected enough that I just wanted to be gone.
Yeah.
I either thought, I wish I was never born, or I wish I could just be done, or whatever it is.
Or I don't want to do this anymore.
I don't want to do this anymore. That's a thought of it. No matter how far that thought went, we've all had that thought. And when we can have a bigger conversation about, like you said, the spark that's in each one of us. You say you want to light that fire. When that spark goes out in someone, they can't see their own dim light.
Right.
How can they believe that anyone else would see that in them?
Yeah.
So when someone like your surrogate aunt, or like you, because you've learned from her, or me, or anyone else who's in the mother, aunt, or father type position, and we go spark that up, and we ignite their little pilot light.
Yeah.
And it's still very, very dim. But at least it's inside of them. They feel the warmth.
Yeah.
They start to just wake up a little bit.
And I think that's what we have to do is really pay attention, because I noticed this message. It was a story that my friend put up. Like, she's like crying out for help. Like, her child is going through something tumultuous. And like, literally all she said was like, if you could send something, like if someone, I can't reach my child, is what I felt like I heard her say. I cannot reach my child. She is in a very scary place and I don't know what to do. But if you have something, or could reach out to her, or want to send a card, or just anybody sending something that says you're valuable, like you matter, or I'm thinking about you. I mean, just think about the times in your life when someone's done that for you, or showed up for you. Or like, for instance, my brother just went out and saw my daughter. She was out in Colorado. They were about an hour apart. I didn't know if they were going to get to meet up, but he drove an hour away to go meet her and see her and show up for her.
Yeah.
He hadn't seen her for a few years. And truthfully, it means all the like money in the world.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to buy her a Christmas present. Like, go see her when she's an hour away from you.
Yeah.
So quality time into her life. Tell my 14-year-old daughter that you care about her. That's so much more valuable than all the money we're throwing at kids, or all the social media likes that are just tricking our brain into thinking we're cool or something like this.
The dopamine release.
But it leaves us feeling empty. And it's like, man, I just want to like hug this girl so bad. And I want to even go to all my friends who, you know, who've lost an aunt and just be like, hey, it's okay to grieve and it's okay to be sad and it's okay to like mourn something that's really hard that's happened, a trauma in your life. But like, where do we go next? Like, how do we keep moving forward? Because life is scary. Like, we're going to face fears and face traumas and face this stuff often.
Right.
The older I get in life, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, life is brutal.
It is quite brutal.
So brutal.
It's quite brutal. But, you know, you were saying the hug or the gift and the card. And I myself, you know, I think, again, everyone has gone through that. Like, the world would be a better place without me. What am I doing? I'm not bringing any worth to anyone. And when the world is mad at me or, you know, work isn't going right or whatever the case is for these young adults or for ourselves or whatever. And so when we're in a position like that, and like you said, what is it that helped you? If it's just that one phone call or that one word, and you want so badly to give that. But yeah, as a mother, you do feel helpless when your children are broken. And, you know, we have to get to a place as parents to understand, like you said, it's okay to not be okay for a minute. It's okay to be broken. You're not done. It's okay to not know what the next minute is going to hold. When people used to tell me, you just got to get through today, I'm like, you don't understand. I can't get through the next 5 minutes. I need you to breathe life into me in the next 5 minutes and then stay with me because I need the next 5 minutes. I can't get through 24 hours by myself.
Right.
And then it's an hour. Okay, I can get through this hour. And then it's half the day. I got to the afternoon. And, you know, we got to get there. But
that's kind of the same exact way I felt when I read my friend's story.
yeah,
There's something else going on here. I don't know why her daughter's in the hospital. Maybe she's just sick. I don't know what's really going on. But it was a knowing. It was like a deeper knowing where I was like, I need to show up here right now because someone's life is on the line or somebody's heart is on the line, maybe. But then at the same time, I was like, well, what do I do? Like, how do I interpret this correctly? Because like you, I can go in and I can try to fix the situation, right? But like your angels were like, no, don't touch this. Like you're here to pray. Yeah. And I just talked with Jesse's grandma the other day, literally like 2 days ago. And she was kind of, you know, she's 87. She's going to be 88, I think, in like a month. And she was telling me, she's like, I asked the Lord the other day, like, why am I still here? Like, she's like, literally, that's what she said. She's like, I'm ready to go. Yeah. Like, what's my mission? Because I don't know what I'm doing here. And the Lord told her, you are here to pray. And your prayers are powerful. And as long as you still have breath on this earth, you pray for your family because they are so powerful. So that's pretty much what I did. Was I interceded, I prayed for this girl, I prayed for the angels and the spirit to show me what to do for her. Like, I'd love to give her one of our West Eden hoodies and just be like, you're surrounded in comfort and love, like, never forget it. And give her one of our pictures, like, straighten up your crown, girl, you're a princess, like, don't forget who you really are because you are unique, you are valuable. And sometimes we have to go through a dark night of the soul. Sometimes we have to wrestle with our own self and our own integrity because our own integrity is telling us we're off somewhere. And we got to get back into alignment. But other times it's really like our aunts or our friends, or like for me, I would just be your mom's friend, right? Like it's just your mom's friend who has a word for you that you will never forget and that will remind you of who you are. And so I love that there's always hope, even though you're like, I want to save everybody from like these like hard, dark things they're going through. But it's like, hey, no, I'm going to sit here with you in your darkness. I'm going to trust that the light will find you. And when I feel that inner knowing, I'm going to show up. Exactly. And I'm not going to ignore it. Yeah. A lot of people, I think, ignore it. Like, oh, maybe I should have done something about that. But when you actually stop and take that thought captive and then turn it into an action, like I was telling one of my girlfriends on the phone the way here to record this today about my friend, and she wrote a whole book about addictions and how like she was homeless and the Lord got her through some addictions. It's called Hope in 60 Seconds. And she's like, I'll send her my book right now. She's like, I'm going to write her a little message, sign this copy, and send this girl this book. And it's like, so you just never know.
That's
like
showing up. Yeah.
One conversation I have with you, one conversation I have, like, hey, this girl's life on the line is on the line. Who wants to help? Like, who wants to say like, hey, baby girl, we got you.
And
like,
do you feel like that's even enough?
Yeah. And it doesn't matter like if I say the words perfect or if she even receives them. It has nothing to do with that. It's like, look, someone cared enough to think. Someone cared enough to write a letter. Someone cared enough to send you something.
Exactly.
Because we're all connected.
Yeah.
And like losing somebody, you know, is really, really difficult. But we also have people here today who are ready to get rid of their life.
Yeah.
Rid of their life because they have no hope and no vision of what the future could look like for them.
Yeah.
And I just can't watch that happen. Like I want to trust the angels to deliver the messages at the right time, at the right place, and also be a listening servant, a listening ear, a channel of grace. I think that's my favorite thing from that book we read is like, I will just want to be a channel of grace.
Which one? Is that Entering the Castle?
Yes.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Oh my gosh, Carolyn. And because I think like oftentimes we can withhold the gift or withhold the word or withhold the cry of a mother's heart to
not even
say like,
it.
I'm not okay, please help me.
Yeah, yeah.
Or we could see somebody ask for help and just be too busy to like do something about it. But when you have that knowing, that feeling, that intuition, that every mother knows that. Every father knows it too. It's that thing in there where you're like, no, there's something beyond what I'm seeing in this moment. And I think we can reach in and I want to just reach over in the spirit and hand her a drink from the river of life and be like, it's okay. Just take a drink of this, like, and you'll never thirst again.
Yeah. You know, I think the most important piece is what you said about grace. You know, we don't always know how to show up, but we don't realize how powerful we are in our quiet moments. We do feel each other. We are like the dolphins, like the fish, like the birds. We are naturally that way. And when we understand that more, when we understand that the power of prayer now is, you know, it didn't need to be, but it is now scientific data. You know, when you pray over into water, it changes the molecular state. When you pray over DNA, you can unravel the DNA. Prayer is powerful. It's the frequency, not just of our mouth, but of our minds.
Yes.
And so when we get an emotion tied to an intention, that's when things materialize. That's when people feel it. Because when I feel that heartfelt emotion for my child, and then I have the intention of comforting him and being that honey, that salve to the wounds, right?
Yeah.
And when you're told your most powerful place is in a dark room by yourself, and you are making the biggest impact you can make as a mother right now, that's powerful. And I think we can take that anywhere to your friend and her daughter. You know, when you say right now, you were saying earlier, you and I and Jesse were talking, and you said, right now, I just wish I could give her this cup of living water. And we said, right now.
Yeah.
And Jesse agreed. And Jesse's amen. And then you're, you know, and she's drinking from this cup and it never runs dry. And the three of us in agreement. Right there, that child had a breakthrough moment that she may not have had with every card, every call, every kiss, every love. It doesn't mean that those were irrelevant. It means they were very relevant.
Yeah.
But what our prayer does in that power place is it validates all those right things. It doesn't discount the card or the kiss or the mother. Mom, I'm not more powerful than you because I'm praying from a studio room with the three of us in one accord. Not more powerful than mom. We are validating the power and the love of mom.
Yes.
And just crushing her fears. And you know, just to kind of wrap it up, when these kids are scared, you know, when we feel hopeless and that light is too dim, we need someone else to come in with a spark
Yeah.
and remind us of who we are, even if it's just a thought or a look or a card or a hug or whatever it is. We are so powerful to speak life into each other. And I think what happens too often these days is there's so many judgmental thoughts
Yes.
that can go, well, what's going on in that person's life? Or what's going on in the, what about the mother? What about the family? What about the parents? What about the friends? But if we can take that, the questions that, the human mind that wants to know, but why? But what happened? And just go, it's okay to just not have to know the whys and the background and the history. Just pray over it anyway. Your prayer is sufficient.
Yeah.
Pray over it. Give power over it. And discount the power of the fear and engage in the power of hope.
Yeah.
And, we just light fires. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to light fires. And I might not ever see the little girl's face, but she will have felt our prayer that may have just changed the entire course of the rest of her life.
That's right.
And she'll never know that any of us were involved.
Yeah.
But the angels and God and all of creation knows that we're all in this together.
Yeah.
We are all in this together.
Yeah. And so I think we just need to tune in. Tune in. I often ask every morning, Lord, who do you want me to touch today? Or who do you want me to bless today? Or who should I call today? Sometimes it's just a call to encourage somebody or just to check in and see what's going on in someone's life I haven't seen for a hot minute. And when those thoughts come to your mind, I should check on this person, pick up the phone and make a call.
Absolutely.
So many times we just are oh yeah, and then we keep going on with our life and we get distracted. But those are the moments when someone has picked up the phone and called me out of the blue to tell me something.
And you needed it the most
I
right
needed
then.
it the most right that minute.
Yeah.
And oftentimes we overlook that. We are seriously connected on very, very deep levels. I know I was on Facebook that night to see that message because I was supposed to pray for this girl.
In that moment. Yeah.
It was a knowing that I have. And I knew that I was also supposed to reach out to a couple other people who needed to know, who could also help, or who had
Bring in the Calvary.
a gift to give to this person, right? And it's this is how we heal.
Yeah.
This is how community works.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I have to call her every day and preach a message to her.
You've done your work. Yeah.
It means I tune in, I listen to what the Spirit's saying, and I do that. Doing what we know, intuitively, in our spirit, what we know is right to do, and staying in sync with the Holy Spirit is so important because moms want to fix everything. We just want it to be perfect. We want nobody to get hurt. We want everyone to be happy and this whole little perfect thing. But going through that struggle, wrestling through those dark nights of the soul. But that's a lot of trust. I mean, that's like Moses' mom laying him on the water, trusting whatever happens to this child is out of my hands. And I do feel like that's where we're going. We have to let our kids go. We have to let them grow up. We have to let them take their promised land. We have to let them have their own journey. And it's incredibly terrifying to do that in a world today that's super dark and nefarious.
Yeah.
But that is all a part of becoming who they're called to be.
Yeah.
We can't do that part for them. They have to do that themselves.
Absolutely.
But we get to pray and hold the gap and hold the space.
Yeah.
And I do think we can do more through prayer than even the words we say or the gifts we give or any of that. But we have to pay attention.
Yeah.
Pay attention to those little messages that come across our heart.
Yeah.
That we could easily flush aside. We could easily
It's the little alert system inside of
bypass.
us. Yeah, that we need to listen to.
But somehow deep and down we really know.
And I completely agree with you. I think we can all do more. I think the problem is we all feel helpless.
Yeah.
Just like you felt helpless when you're reading that. How do I even reach out? What do I even do that she could feel the depth of my emotion for what she's going through right now? And no words are sufficient.
Yeah.
No card is more beautifully written enough.
Right.
There are not enough beautiful flowers in the world to express this deep emotion. Lord, how can I do this? Mm-hmm. And he says, pray.
Yeah.
If that be so powerful.
We have such a tunnel vision on all the things that are going wrong, and we magnify them, we amplify them, they overwhelm us on so many levels.
Yeah.
But when we have community, when we have aunts and grandmas and dads and fathers, like fathers especially in this day and age, who can sow into us, give us words of encouragement, show up to our baseball games or volleyball games or whatever it is, just show up for us on any kind of level.
Yeah.
Makes all the difference in the world.
I agree. And I think that's where we're all empowered. I mean, when you say, I think we can do so much more. And I think people feel helpless and they don't realize the power they hold in their minds and in their words.
Yeah.
And they don't have to necessarily show up if they can't. And if they can, it's a beautiful sentiment. And if they can't, still put the prayer in your heart. Don't feel like you've not done anything, or don't feel like if you don't have money to send flowers, you can't do anything. A prayer is powerful.
Yeah.
And multiples of prayers are more powerful.
Yeah.
And 1 + 1 does not just equals 2.
Yeah.
1 + 1 is so much more magnified than 2.
Yeah.
And so when we get 10,000 together that are all praying in one accord, that is more powerful than showing up to anything. And every one of them can be praying in their own private places.
That's right. But it moves mountains.
It moves mountains. And I think we just want to let everyone who's listening, and if you know someone who's hurting, please send them this video and let them know they are heard and they are prayed over. And you are heard and you are prayed over. You are never alone.
There's people out there praying for you right now, just like we're praying for the people in our lives.
Yes.
The angels are talking, they're bringing you flowers, they're bringing you healing, they're bringing you all the things that you've been looking for. It's already within you.
Yes.
Your story is orchestrated and it's powerful, and it's for such a time as this. Do not give up.
If you or someone you love needs reassurance, support, or resources for suicide prevention, please check the show notes in this podcast.